Okay, not really sure what happened there. I actually was watching it and it just went literally like the screen just went blank. So I'm glad that I actually can see myself because I didn't even know, I wouldn't have known if it was otherwise because my page still hasn't loaded on the iPad. But okay, that was weird. And hopefully we won't have any more little hiccups. So, and if we do, I will just try to remember where I left off and then pick back up. But I know I was talking about the Covered Bridge Inn and the retreat that I went on this past weekend. So I was gone Friday morning and I came back Sunday late evening, and my son and I had to drive through just horrible weather from Austin all the way to San Antonio. So let me try to pull this back up on my iPad again. And I know I wanted to draw last week's drawing because I wasn't available to do a live because I was driving on the way back. I decided to do a pre-recording of what I was going to do at 3 p.m. So what I did was I pre-recorded the video, and last week it was the Come Sail Away suite because we're still on the masculine cards. But before I get too far, because it will happen, I wanted to draw the winners for those cards. If you watch my videos, if you like my videos, if you share the video, just type shared in the comments because Facebook does not tell me if it's shared or who shared it. I think I see a number, but I don't actually see who actually shares the video, or if you start a watch party or something of that sort. I don't see any of that, but I do see your likes. I do see your emojis, and I do thank you for watching me every single week so far. If you recall, we did 3 masculine cards using the Come Sail Away suite, and I'm going to kind of put that up there. I've got a lot of extra light on me today. So there's that card. There's the thank you card that we did. This paper is beautiful, and I'm so sad that the designer series paper is retiring. And then the third one was, it's probably too much, there we go, was this card. So whoever I draw is about to win all 3 of these cards that we made last week. And I had, I think there was 3 people that watched, but that's okay. You watched, you liked, you commented, and here's my little starry cup that I do drawings from. So I'm going to pull somebody's name real quick and go ahead and announce the winners. Now, don't forget, as you're watching this video, if you comment, like, share, let me know. You get entered into the drawings by doing that in order to win the cards that we're actually making. And I just heard a cat, and so hopefully he won't jump up here. But the winner, see if you can read that, is Veronica Johnson. So congratulations, Veronica. I'm pretty certain I have your mailing address, so I'll make sure that you get all 3 of these cards in the mail tomorrow. So, and it's that easy, guys. If when you like my video and you watch, you comment, and you share, you will get entered for a drawing to win all 3 of the cards or projects or whatever I'm doing that particular day. So let me set that aside, and we are just, actually today's May 31st, and technically it is the end of the month. I do have a monthly online ordering special, and this is the last time I will show you these cards because I know you've seen them every single week. But the monthly online ordering special, when I point the camera down, you're going to see my blog spot and my web page, and that is going to take you to my store. Either way you use those links, it'll take you to my online ordering store. And if you order in the month of May, which today's the end of the month, if you order and your order is $25 or more online, I will send you a kit in order to make 4 cards. And in the month of May, we used the Butterfly Gala punch. It's a coordinating punch along with the stamp set. And this was the first card. This was the second card. I know there's a lot of light on here because I'm in front of a window as well. There is a third card. Cute. And then there's this last card. Try to do this number where the light's not shining so directly on it. So $25 or more. It's good through midnight tonight. So if you go to my website and you order anything that's $25, I will send you the kit in order to make these cards. But you do have to have the stamp set and the coordinating punch in order to make it. And I also have links on my blog, so if you don't want to order or you don't need anything and you're not going to place an order, there is 2 other links where you can get you can buy the tutorials to make the cards, or you can just flat out buy the cards if you want me to make them and you want the cards. So just always know that every single month there's that option as well. So you don't ever feel like you have to. Of course, I'm always going to appreciate any orders that come my way, but I also have those other 2 options too. So if you already have supplies and project material and you just need to know how, you can purchase the tutorials, or if you don't want to buy anything and you don't want to have to put anything together and you just want the cards, there is an option to buy the cards too, and then I personally make them and then send them to you already made. So just keep that in mind. So let me set that aside. And there's a couple of things that I want to announce super quickly before we get started on the cards. And the first thing is I don't have my printout right in front of me. I'm looking at my BOGO sheet. But there is an event that I have going on right now that is good until June 2nd, at least the first round. And I do have just a couple of, what's the word? Spots open. I couldn't think of the words. I do have a couple of spots open for the first round, and it's called a product share. So if you want to participate in either a paper share, a ribbon share, an accessory share, or maybe you want it all, the product shares are going to be from the new catalog. So if you have a catalog or you're interested in seeing a sampling, a really good sampling of the new products coming out, if you go to my blog, there is a blog post right now that's active that shows the details of each particular share. There's a paper share, there's a ribbon share, there's an accessory share, so you can basically customize what you want to purchase. And then there's I want it all, because that would be me. I would want it all. But fortunately, as a demonstrator, I sort of already have it all, if we're going to be honest here, because that's just my nature, to make sure that I have all of the new items. I love playing with it, and as a demonstrator for this last month, I have been able to play with a lot of the new products. So I'm real excited to know that on June 3rd, you may see a video. I'm not sure if I'll be live or not, but I haven't quite determined that. But I have a box, a huge box right behind me that is just packed with new things that I can't wait to show you. And unless you have your catalog already, or you've seen it somewhere else, then you haven't been able to see the new products. But if you do have your catalog, you'll be able to see some of those physical items, and I'll be able to show them to you, but I can't show them to you till June the 3rd. So, and then the other event that I have, which reminded me as I was looking at my paper, is a BOGO event. And it only happens a couple of times a year, but we all know or hopefully we all know what BOGO stands for, and it's buy one get one free. And that is the other promotion that I have going on, but it does not start until the new catalog is released, which is June 3rd, which is what, next Wednesday? I'm not looking at a calendar, but basically you get to purchase retired items from me, and for every dollar that you spend in retired items, you get to also choose the same amount in the new catalog to go shopping. So basically you're going to get something new, and then you're also going to get something retired as well. And I know earlier before the video cut out, and I'll post a couple of aerial photos in the comments when I'm done, but I'm gonna point you over to this side over here, and hopefully this will stay with me. But my table and the rest of the scrap room area is just full. There's boxes, there's even things on the floor that haven't even been entered yet into the computer, because I've spent the last good 2 weeks cataloging everything and putting it on my blog. But that blog page is not activated just yet because I'm still adding items to it. So and on that same blog page there will also be instructions on how to participate in the BOGO, and anybody can participate in the BOGO. Last year I had a couple of events here at my craft studio, but this year, just as a precaution for everybody's well-being, I'm going to do it completely online. So this is the first time I'm doing it online, and so I hope that it goes as smooth as it should. In my mind, in my little simple mind, it should go pretty smooth. So I do see Tommy, Rosemary, probably Rosemary, and Nina watching. So hi you guys, I'm glad you could join me. We are actually getting ready to do the demos. I just wanted to get all those announcements out of the way because we're just busting at the seams with just new and exciting information that's coming up with Stampin' Up. So once again, if you're just joining me, my name's Barbara, and I am a independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I do live in the San Antonio, Texas area. So with that being said, I want to introduce the stamp set that I'm going to be using today. Hi. It's Waterfront, and hopefully you guys can see this because I do have a lot of light in front of me. But we are continuing with our masculine theme because we are gearing up for Father's Day. And so on my blog, I know I put a post every time on my blog, but you can actually go back and watch the videos too. And apologize if some of them are sideways. I try to fix them. I did find a program to fix it. It's just frustrating when you're trying to get things right, and then it's just not happening. And then you think I'm looking at my iPad and I'm right, and then when I go to watch the replay, it's like sideways, and I'm like, oh, come on. So, but anyway, but thank you, Rosemary. I'm assuming that's Rosemary. But Tommy, if that's you too, then thank you. These creations are my therapy. It's crafting therapy. And with everything that's going on in the world right now, it really just takes your mind. It brings you back down. For me, it brings my blood pressure back down. It's my happy place, and I enjoy sharing it with you guys. So, but last week we did use the Come Sail Away suite. It's Rosemary. Thank you. Well, I hope you guys like today's cards, because this stamp set that I'm showing is going to continue in the new catalog, which is good. And then next week I have another one that's real similar to this that is mountain themed. But at first glance you're like, oh my gosh, that just looks like a bunch of random pieces, and it may look hard, but trust me, you guys, it's not. And I think you're going to really like these cards. So let me show you Let me see if I can show you from this angle before I point the camera down. But this is the first card that we're going to be making. That's card number 1. And I'll bring them back down so you can see the samples when I'm done. And then this is card number 2 with that same stamp set. Oh my gosh, the colors are beautiful. The stamp set is gorgeous. And then this is the last one, right here. And I just remembered I didn't bring my big shot over here, but I'll do this card last. So with that being said, like I said, we are going to use the Waterfront. I'm looking at my stack of ink pads, and we're going to use all kinds of colors, but I'm trying to stick with some masculine colors. We've got Night and Navy, Pacific Point, Crushed Curry, Garden Green, Soft Suede, Seaside Spray, Old Olive, Crumb Cake, Balmy Blue, and Early Espresso. So I just left them all out here because I was going to be reusing some of the colors. So let me see if I can get this thing pointed down so that you can see, and you might see my blinds as I try to point this down. But let me see if I can get this down here, or you might see my ta-da. Okay, yay! All right. Let me make sure this is tightened so it doesn't fall down. There we go. You can see my name. I'll try to take some of that off there so that you can see the website and the blog spot. But I may stand up for this one just because it's easier for me to stand up so I can actually see on the top what I'm doing. But on this particular card, actually with all of the cards, this particular stamp set is one of those things that you can do simple stamping. And the cards might have not looked simple, but once I start putting them together, you're actually going to see how simple these are. The very first one is one that literally is just a base. I've got to insert on the inside, but I also have, this is just one sheet of cardstock paper, and everything is stamped on here. So this particular color is called Pacific Point. And let me make sure, yeah, my smaller one goes on the outside, because I think I goofed last week or the week before when I did the other ones. But with this sheet of paper, this is just a regular 8.5, 11 by 11 sheet of paper, and I just folded it in half, and I'm going to use my bone folder to get that crease going down. And then with this one, we're going to use, let me make sure, we're going to use Pacific Point, we're going to use Early Espresso, Garden Green, and Crushed Curry. Yeah, those are the only ones we're going to use with this. And because it's a photopolymer stamp, which just means that you can actually see through these stamps, whenever we use our photopolymer stamps, we have to use some kind of a foam mat underneath in order to stamp so that our image is an even image. So the first part that I'm going to be doing, let me see if I can move that up just a little bit there, are the mountains. And I've already have everything mounted. I am going to be doing some the stamp off technique. Let me get a second. Where did it go? Oh, it's in my, sometimes I swear I try to be ahead of the game, and I am, and then I forget that I'm ahead of the game, and then I just completely, I'm going to slide something under there so I can use a stamp off over here on this side so that you can see what I'm talking about. But on these mountains back here, I don't want it to be the full strength of the ink, especially since last night I re-inked my Early Espresso. So remember, we just tap, 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 That one is kind of juicy, so I'm gonna stamp off to the side to get a lot of that off. And then, oops, hold on. That's not the right one. I was like, that's not the right one. Hold on. Let me get that one cleaned up and do this one. This one's the one. There's so many pieces to this, and depending on, there we go. Try to find a middle point there. And then just press down, bring it straight up. It's not as dark as the other one because last night when I did this sample, that was before I had re-inked the early espresso. So let me clean that off because I know I'm going to be reusing that one. And then we're not done with early espressos. I'm going to set that aside, but the next one I'm going to use is Garden Green. And I'm not going to be stamping off on that one, but for me, I've got to turn this sideways so I can line it up underneath. And I'm going to cover that up because I knew that was going to happen. I pressed too hard on the side and some ink got on the corner, so when I pressed down on there, that little boo-boo happened. But I'm going to cover that up. And then I'm not done with the Garden Green, but I'm going to open up my Pacific Point. And the first one I was trying to do, that's the one that, make sure I clean that really good. I'm cleaning my stamp pads off to the side with our simple chamois, which is just a chamois that's wet. And that it's an easy and a quick way to clean our stamps. And then we're gonna line. I don't like this because I thought that was far enough down to cover the boo-boo. So I think what I'll do is I'll do this one for the demo. And then on the giveaway, I'll give away the actual sample that I made. That didn't work out. Okay, let's do this, because I don't like that. Looking for, let me cut an extra little sheet of paper real quick. I've got the sheet right here next to me. I just got to cut it down just a fraction. Let's see. We're going to start over. So let me find out. Here we go. Let's start back over. That's too many boo-boos for me. Let's do this. Maybe I can get it right the second time here. So there's that one. And then make sure I didn't have any green on that one. I'm gonna line that up. That's just to represent some grass. And then there we go. Let's try this again with this Pacific Point. Let me do this just to make sure. Yeah, that's much better. I want to make sure I get it nice and even, but at the same time, we're going to line this up right under the grass. I'm going to press down, bring it straight up. And then this little dark mark right here is just, close that, I don't need that anymore, is done with Night of Navy. And this is just another stamp set. Let me make sure there's no ink on the side of that. And we're going to use full strength. Let me make sure it's going to, yeah. I use Night of Navy so much that sometimes I fail to realize it actually does still need to continue to be re-inked. So that's just another vision of water. Clean that. I gotta clean these because they get used in on other stamps. And then the last part is, yeah, that one's clean, are the trees. We're going to do full strength of the trees, and we're going to put the trees right here. Okay. And then we have a little sunset going on. Where's my sunset? There's my sunset. And we're going to use, we don't need Night of Navy anymore, so I'm going to close that. We're going to use crushed curry in order to do the sunset. So tap that. We're going to stick that one right there. That's the only part of crushed curry that we need. And then we're going to stamp. I still managed to get something there, and I'm not even sure how that got there. Okay, well, let's see. If this doesn't cover it up on You Are Wonderful. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was going to stamp, because this was inked. This was re-inked last night. See if I can't get that covered up. Ta-da! Oh, good, it covered it up. Yay. Okay, so let me get some of these out of the way, because now that we have all our stamping out of the way, we can actually put this card on the base. But you know what? Before I do that, let me stamp the inside because on the inside I decided to put some trees on the inside. So let me get those on there. There we go. And then let me close this up. Let me close both of those up, because ink can get on things really quick even with a small slip of hand. So while that is just drying, I'm going to take the base and I'm going to put adhesive on the back of this card. Oops, open it up. Which, this is our snail adhesive. It works very similar to whiteout tape, but it's being replaced with something that is even better. There's 2 levels of new adhesive that we have coming out in the new catalog. So, and I don't know if you noticed, but like on my other cards, I usually have 2 bases, and on this one, I just chose to put this Whisper White cardstock at the second base level. And when I'm looking for a card that might show that, like this one, for example, there's a Night of Navy base, and then there's the white piece of Whisper White on top. This piece of paper is this size right here, and maybe just a tad smaller, and I did that on purpose only so that I could show more of the Pacific point around the edge. And I felt that because of all the simple stamping going on this front part, that it would help balance out the Pacific point in the middle of the card as well. So that is the front, and let me get some adhesive on the back of this. So I have loads of this adhesive. Oops, I'm out. Let me replace that real quick. I always forget to check my... Get a new one popped in there real quick. It's super quick to replace these. And they just pop back in there. So I have lots of this adhesive that I need to use up, but I'm not too concerned with using it up before the end of the month or the 2nd, because I can always use it for other projects as well. Get that in there, and there is the first card. This was the sample that I did last night. This one is the one that we just did. I did use the stamp off technique. This one appears a little darker, only because when I did this one last night, it was before I re-inked my early espresso, and that was a full strength. So that told me last night, hey, you need to re-ink your early espresso, because early espresso actually is supposed to be this dark down here. So after I inked it and stamped off with the stamp off technique, it was this light. So, which is still a little lighter, but you get it. I think both cards are still equally just as gorgeous. So that is card number 1. And don't forget, like, comment, share, emoji. That's how you get entered to win the card. So that was card number 1. And then card number 2 is going to be this one. It still is some simple stamping, but there's just a couple of extra layers involved. So with this card, I'm using Soft Suede is this color. Instead of Whisper White, I decided to use Very Vanilla. And then this color is Seaside Spray. So we're going to get all our stamping started first. And what I did on this piece right here is with Seaside Spray, it's just a background that's part of the same stamp set. And I'm just going to go all the way around the edge. And I'm only going around the edge because that middle piece is going to cover up anything that doesn't get this background stamp in the middle. There we go. So that's just a little sprinkle all the way around with this background set. And I do need that, but I don't need that just yet. And with this one, with this particular card, I decided to use Soft Suede for the mountains, and I stamped off on Crumb Cake on the back as well. So I'm going to start with the lighter color first, which is Crumb Cake. And let me get the right mountain this time and make sure it's clean. And with that one, I'm just going to tap a little bit on the top. I want to stamp off and then I got to leave enough room at the top in order to stamp Enjoy Today. And it's okay that that wasn't a full stamp, because when I stamp with Soft Suede, and I'm going to make sure before I go do that, yeah, it's full strength. Sometimes I can't tell what is full strength and what I had to stamp off. Let's see if I can do that. If I had the Stamparatus out, why is it doing that? There is nothing under that card where it should be doing that. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to continue with this, and I'm going to try to go back and fix that. But I want another mountain over here. Let's see if I can let me get that extra ink off. This one I'll keep for my sample, but I'm just tapping that one little part. What is it? I know I'm doing something wrong. I'm trying to correct at least my sample. I'm not going to do, I'm not going to give this card away. I just want that part inked, but I'm not sure why, but I'm going to leave it like that. I'll keep this sample. Get that cleaned. It's just darker than the other one that I used last night. So in order to get these little, this little grass, I'm using, in fact, I think I'm done with Soft Suede. I used Old Olive, which is another one of the greens colors that we have in our line. And I used this one. Let me make sure. Yeah, I stamped off. And I'll have to turn it sideways for me. And then I turned it around. You just have to be creative with making sure that these images start to line up and overlap in the right areas. And then I only need a little one for that one, so I'm just going to tap this little end right here. Sometimes I have to turn the paper sideways too. There we go. And then I'm going to do also the green on this piece right here, but in order to get these green images, I know I used the mountain one. So let me make sure that one is clean before I go dip in this one. Oops, it's still kind of got some on it. You always want to make sure your stamp images are clean, especially if you had another ink on it, because you could inadvertently put one ink into another ink and then it's not going to ink properly. So let me get, I used just the left side and then I used the right side as well, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Trying to get it that way. I think I know why I'm feeling something underneath that's not even, and I think it's underneath my paper. There's an overlap of something underneath that it's catching. That's why it's doing that. And then let me use the right side to get that in there. And then these little pieces right here, I'm going to use that same stamp that I used a while ago just to fill in. Let me turn it the right way so I can actually see the area that I need to. And then let me do that side just to fill that in. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the trees, and let me make sure that garden green is off because I'm stamping an old olive. You know what? Let me hold off on that, and let me do the water, the blue water. I want the lighter colors to go first. And with that, I used the same stamp set that I did the sides in. So let me make sure. Yeah, I stamped off. I have to make sure. I'm sure it would look equally beautiful if, oh, you know what? No, it's not that one. It's, which one is this one? It's Seaside Spray. All these colors look the same to me. And I want to say I still stamped off. Yeah, I did. That would have been a different color. And then I'm just going to fill this in. Give it a light press because I want it to be light. And then that little, I don't know what you call it, little zigzag in the water was the full strength of Seaside Spray, kind of up here. There we go. And then I think I'm done with that one. Yeah. Now I'm gonna do these trees kind of off to the side, and before I do that, let me do this. Let me move this over just a little bit so it stamps off. I want the trees to be right there. And then I'm going to move this to the other side to do this other piece. I want one tree to be here. So let me clean that off. And I'm just going to ink up, I don't know if you can see that from that angle, but I'm just going to ink up that one tree on the right so that when I stamp it on there, it only shows the image. It doesn't show the image of the other two. But on this piece right here, I'm going to clean this again. I'm going to get just a little bit more. Oh, I'm going to do the other side, sorry. I'm going to do the left side and just tap that, but I'm going to stamp off on that one. Try to get it up a little bit. I'm trying to figure out where I think I stamped off way too much. Let's do this. Let's do this. It's not going to be the same as the other one, but pretty close. There we go. And the last little piece I want to do is with the Seaside spray is I want to, let me close this up, I'm done with that. Oops. Is the sentiment that says enjoy today. So I'm just going to tap that on there. I want it full strength. And then just get that up in the middle at the top in that one little area. There we go. Okay, now that this little piece is done, we're going to mount this on this piece of soft suede. So let me go ahead and mount that. I think that's all dry. Get some adhesive on the back of this. And if you're joining me after I introduce myself, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to comment, like. I'm not looking at the comments right now because I'm too busy trying to focus on what I did down here. But thank you for joining me. Get that on there like that. Now, in order to get that little raised effect, what I did was I put some dimensionals on each of the corners. So I'm just going to put a small dimensional on each little corner just to give it a little depth on the card. I didn't want it to be all flat. Even though we have some simple stamping going on, I know I have some people that are a little more advanced in stamping, and so I wanted to add just a few extra steps. And then we'll put that on there. Now this particular card opens from top to bottom, so with this one, you make sure I'm using the right side, because there is a right side to paper and there is a wrong side to paper after you cut it. I'm going to get this mounted. Use as much as adhesive. I want to load that up there. I want to make sure this does not fall apart on somebody later. Get this with the adhesive, even with glue. I could put glue on the back of this. You want to kind of make sure that it's even around the edge before you go and actually put it down, because I know in a video not too long ago that happened and I ripped the paper, because it happens. And then the inside. Now with the inside, what I did with that one is I just sprinkled some of the same, let's do that. Those little sprinkles, that sprinkle background that's part of the set. I just sprinkled some of those on the bottom with some Seaside spray. That's all I did. Instead of an actual image. And then we're going to put some adhesive on the back of this. Make sure I put it on the right side. and then put this down as well. So anytime we use a dark base of a card, we always want to put some kind of a lighter piece on the inside, so that it's easy to write and be able to see the sentiment on the inside. So this is card number 2. That's the one we just made. I'm not really sure. I don't have ink on my hands, so I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting pieces of ink rubbed on there. So I'm going to keep this for my sample because I know I did boo-boo in there. Y'all probably don't see it, but I see it. And the one that I'll be giving away is actually the sample that I made last night, which will be this one. So make sure, I'll have to make sure I send the right one on that one. It looks like fingerprints from my angle. Oh gosh, who knows? But if I get any more ink on anything, I'll probably just end up redoing one of the cards. I'm like, I don't see ink on me, but that's why I like to close these things up shortly after I'm done with them, because any little smudge of ink will get on something if you're not paying attention. But at the same time, that's why I keep baby wipes. So I'm just going to wipe my hands in case there is any loose ink lingering on anything over here. So anyway, that's card number 2. I hope you like that one. Once again, we are using the, let me get it back over here. We are using the Waterfront stamp set, and there are no coordinating dies or anything. This is just simple putting all these little stamps together in order to make something. So yeah, card number 2. And then now card number 3 is just a little bit more detailed, which this is card number 3. I love it. I love this. I love the colors. With this one, we are using, where'd I put it? We are using, I know I had another ink around here somewhere. Trying to figure out where that ink went. But meanwhile, I see there was ink on the back of this old olive, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of where that came from. Well, I was looking for an ink pad because this one is not, I don't see it here. This one is a different green that I used on this card. I know I did use, let me get these ready because we're going to do our stamping first. Oh, I see something there. Let's do this. On some of these, there's ink on the side, and I think I might be picking those up when I touch these and not realizing what I'm doing. But on this one, we are using this, we're using Berry Vanilla. I'm gonna make sure I got my pieces right. That's the inside. That's the base. This is the piece that I need to do the big shot with, because I don't know if you can see from that angle, but this piece of cardstock back here is actually embossed. So for this one, I did some embossing. So let me put those away, and then I know it's already ready, so bear with me. I'm going to step away for just 2 seconds to go get my big shot. I can't wait until we get our new one, or be able to order our new one on June 3rd, because this one has done a lot of business in the last 10 to 15 years, but it's huge, it's big, and it's can be a little cumbersome. But the new one that we have coming out is a lot smaller, it's a lot lighter, and let me grab, I think I had this last night and then I put it away. But the one I was looking for a while ago, which, see, there's ink, is Mossy Meadow. So let me get a fresh baby wipe and wipe that off. Because that would have been offender number 3 in this video had I not seen that. So let me make sure I got. And the embossing folder that we're using is a wood grain embossing folder. So in order to do that, there's 2 ways you can do this. On the card, I have the grain going up and down. So I want to make sure when I put this in my folder that my piece of cardstock, which is Mossy Meadow, is in the right way. And then we always want to put our embossing folders in with the bent side going in first. That just helps keep it from breaking. And then we also have our top plate. And then run it through. Bring this back a little bit. Run it through. And then after that, we have an embossed piece of paper with a wood grain. And we have loads of different types of embossing folders. And sometimes, let me set this off to the side. Sometimes that's all you need to do with a folder is just a little embossing to give it that little extra whatever it needs. And I'm going to fold this one this way. Do our fold. And then I'm just going to set that off to the side so that we can get started on our stamping part first, so we can start building up our mountains, which is the same stamp set I've used in, let me make sure it's clean, in the other ones. I just have to double check and make sure that I'm either using full strength or I'm stamping off. I don't like that one. I don't think that's the one I use. I think I used crumb cake. And of course I didn't write any of this down, so let me make sure I clean my... There we go. I used full strength of crumb cake to do these mountains back here. So we are going to start, and I hope I don't get it on the bottom because I already see ink. You might not see it, but I see it on the bottom of my acrylic block. Tried to get that off. There we go. And then I'm just going to continue with the mountains there. And then I'm just going to try to get the top of that mountain because I want to put another one right here, but I don't want the bottom to be so dark, but it still will overlap, which is okay. Try to clean that stamp. And then we're going to do the grass next, which the grass, in order to get 2 lines at the same time, let me close that up. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. That one is stamped off, and I'm using this particular stamp. And I'm going to just do 2 different lines on the bottom here underneath these mountains. Let me turn it this way so it kind of overlaps. Trying to get that. And then I want to get that little area right there. I thought I stamped off on that one. Didn't look like I stamped off. Definitely want to get this little area over here. I think last night I got a little closer to the mountains, and you can still, let me tap that, stamp it off, and then get a little closer, and you'll just see a little small little overlap, but not much. Just to kind of fill that little void going on there between the mountains and the grass. There we go. And fill that one up too. And I think no, I'm not done. Let me go ahead and do the trees while I've got this going there. Just gonna clean that. And I'm going to do the whole set of trees stamped off back here. So it's a lighter image, just kind of representing it's far in the background. And then I'm going to use a full strength of trees right here, which my sample looks darker, so I don't remember just stamping off, but no, I didn't. Maybe my it could be Mossy Meadow is another one that I use a lot, so it could be that one needs to start to be re-inked as well. So let me see if I can get it as dark as I can on this other side over here. Oh, I know what I did on that one. I'm like, there's water there. Yeah, that one's a little darker. And then I am done with Mossy Meadow, yeah. I'm done with Mossy Meadow, and now I'm going to use Early Espresso for the houses. So where's my house? Here's my house. So I'm just going to randomly put some houses on here. And then I'm going to use the full strength on that house, and then I'm going to come right behind it and just put another one with the stamp off, so that it's lighter. And I'm going to do the same thing with this house in the middle. And then I'm going to stamp off one over here. And then I'm going to use a full strength right next to it. I can't go too far because of that tree, but we'll do one in the foreground here. Let me go. Not all 2 cards are alike, because these are handmade cards. We're not talking, we're not mass producing here, but we do have a product that's called, I'm gonna get a baby wipe. We do have a product that's called our Stamparatus that does help us with positioning. And on one of the upcoming videos, I will show you how to use the Stamparatus, probably with one of the sets, the new sets that comes out with the new catalog. So, and now we want to do our water. So let me, I'm still going to use Early Espresso, but I'm not going to use it just yet, because I want to take the Balmy Blue, make sure I got the right stamp set, and we're going to be using this one in order to do the water. And I want to say, yeah, that one's full strength on water. And all I'm doing is trying to line this up where the grass meets. And now that I think about it, I'm not even sure if that's the right stamp that I used, but we're gonna make it work. I used 2 stamps for that. Let me clean that one. There we go. That actually is 2 stamps. And let me do this. And then I'm going to turn it around the other way. Get some water on that side. and get some water going up here. I'm not crazy about that one little spot right there, so let me do this. I'm going to use, let me tap this little area right here. I made sure the other part of my stamp was clean. And then I just filled that in. If you want, you can also, let's do this. I knew that was going to happen, but I'm glad it didn't go on there. I don't really like that either. I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone, because if I try to keep continuing to mess with it, I will mess it up. So let's do that. Let's just close that up, and let's go ahead and do our sentiment in Early Espresso. And this sentiment says, thinking of you with all my heart. Let me make sure. Yeah. It's not too dark. We're just going to stamp that at the bottom of this little area. And I'm going to close that up, because that is all the stamping that needs to be done on that. Let that dry just a little bit. See, there's parts on the back. I'm like, where's all this ink coming from? Get some adhesive on the back of that. And then this little piece right here, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the middle. I purposely left some space above and below just so that you could see. I'm going to slightly tap that so you could see the press that down a little bit right behind it. There we go. I'm going to put glue on the back of that, because I've been finding that glue on these embossed pieces stick a lot better than the adhesive. Cardstock is usually okay, but these embossed pieces sometimes have a mind of their own. And then we're going to just put that in the middle. With glue, you can move it around just a little bit if you need to move it. You got a little wiggle room before it completely dries. And then on the inside, get that off there. We're going to put a piece of cardstock on the inside. I didn't put any stamping on the inside of the sample that I had, but we could probably put something on there. And I know I tell you to stamp before you put anything on, but I'm going to do it afterwards here. And what am I going to use? What can I use? Let's just do a tree. Let's do a tree. I want something to be on the inside. And we'll just stamp some trees right here in the corner. I think one of the other cards has trees on the corner as well, so it's okay. Okay. That way there's something on the inside as well. And with all of, looking for my, oh, here it is. With all of your cards, you always want to take credit for making your cards. So I just happen to have a personalized stamp that I use, and so I want to put, I want to make sure it's the right direction. I want to notate that I made it. If you ever gotten a card from me, you see my little stamp on the back, and it just says hand stamped by Barbara. So I want to make sure that besides with Stampin' Up! Products, it's part of our angel policy to make sure that we have the copyright symbol with Stampin' Up's name on it, because these are Stampin' Up! Products. So I'll make sure I go back and do the back of those other cards that I didn't do, and make sure that I pick, let me put all this off to the side, make sure that I pick all of the right samples to send out. So So that was actually card number 3. As you can see, it's not an exact duplicate, but it's pretty close. This was the sample that I made last night, and then this is the one that we just made. And I'll probably send the sample out because I can tell from each one of the cards which one is the better one that I would prefer to give away. So we have, there's card number 3. There is, we'll look at that one, card number 2. And then let's do this one, card number 3. I think I'm going to give away all my samples. My samples seem to look a lot better than the ones that I just recreated. Y'all are probably like, they all look fine, but I'm like, no, they don't. I'm just a perfectionist like that. But I think with everybody that has their own business or hobby or whatever it may be, you may see, you may feel the same way. You're like, oh, no, I don't like that. I'm going to redo it. And I might be looking at it like, but it looks fine to me. But to the trained eye and the professionals, we all know when we've done something wrong, and sometimes it can be recovered, and in some cases it can't, and so we just make the best of it. And but I will be doing the samples. So I'm going to turn the camera back so I can get this right the first time. You might see my ceiling. Yep, you'll see my ceiling before you see me. Okay, here we go. Whew. I stood up the whole time in order to do that, so I'm just glad to be sitting down. So, but now I can see comments. I wasn't able to see the comments earlier, so I'll go back and look at the other comments. But oh, I see Melissa's on there. So Melissa's my Mary Kay consultant. So see, makeup by Melissa. So I hope I did her justice with the with all of the makeup, the eye stuff, and the under eye corrector and everything. So yeah. So if you are in the San Antonio area and you need a Mary Kay consultant, my friend Melissa can take care of you. But if you need a Stampin' Up consultant and you need to hook up with cards and lots of other goodies, then you can contact me. So I will list, when the video is over, I will list all of the details of the stamp sets I used. And some of those sentiments that I used in the cards were not part of that stamp set. And just to give you an example, I'm going to reach through here. This card that said enjoy today, I took the sentiment from one of the stamp sets from the Good Morning Magnolia. It's this one right here. I just took it from that one. While Waterfront has some sentiments and greetings on it, I wanted to try to put other ones together that we would give to the men in our lives, because we are coming up on Father's Day, so we have to think about all the men in our lives, all the husbands, our tios, our grandparents, whoever they are. If you have an elderly neighbor that you want to give a card to, you can always do that as well. And the last card that we just did, this one, the Thinking of You with All My Heart, came from, just reaching past here, the Peaceful Moments stamp set, which has a lot of greetings on it. I don't know if you can read those from there, but this one has just a bunch of different sentiments. Life is better with a friend like you. You shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. Congratulations. Thinking of you with all my heart. These are the moments we'll look back on with joy. Always remember, happy birthday. With deepest sympathy, thank you, and wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So this one has a lot of different sentiments, and it's stamp sets like these that we are usually go to because there's such a variety, and you really do get your money's worth, especially if you're looking for stamp sets that have a lot of sentiments or greetings. And then the last one that I used, which was what was on the first card, on this one that says "You are wonderful," was rooted in nature, and it's this stamp right here. But you also see there's other ones. I'm sorry, it's this one. "You are wonderful." This one's just thinking of you. But I have a lot of stamp sets to choose from, so sometimes when I do a card with one stamp set, I'll probably choose a sentiment or a greeting from another one that I think would go good with that particular card. So but I do want to show you those. All of these stamp sets are actually continuing in the next catalog, so that's pretty exciting. But don't forget, on June 3rd on my blog, there's a page that's going to be activated that is called the new annual catalog BOGO event. And for those of you that missed it in the beginning, my table back here, and I'll point it back over here so you can see, but it's a sea of boxes. There's even stuff that's on the floor. All those boxes, and I'll show you pictures, like aerial pictures, when I finish the video, but there's it's loaded with retired stamp sets, dies, ribbon, designer series paper, cardstock, you name it. But on my blog, there are several posts on there that will show you all of the things that are going to be retiring, so that if you see something in the catalog right now, it is May 31st, but our catalog runs through June the 2nd of midnight. If there's something favorite that you like and you want to get it before it's gone, this is literally, we are in the last days of you being able to purchase that. I have a lot of retired items that are going to be in the BOGO, which will start June 3rd, and that's for every $1 that you spend in retired merchandise, you get to spend the exact same amount in the new catalog. So, but if you're not already on my catalog mailing list and you want to be, just let me know. Send me an email, post something, send, probably email's the best to do that. But anybody over the past year that automatically spent, I believe it was more than $50, I think is the threshold that I use, they automatically got a new catalog sent in the mail to them. So they're probably enjoying their catalogs right now. And mine, I'm not sure where mine is. It's probably buried over there underneath the big shot that I just put away. But there's just loads of beautiful product coming out, and I can't wait to share it with you on June 3rd. So I'll be back on June 3rd, which is the middle of the week, so it'll probably be maybe the evening time, unless I want to do something in the morning. I haven't quite decided. So, but I'm really excited and ready to share that with you. But I do want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Every Sunday, 3 p.m. I'll be here. Hopefully Facebook will cooperate, because I know in the beginning it may seem like it was cut off, and it did. About a minute into the video it cut off. So thank you for joining me. I hope you like the cards. Don't forget to like, comment. If you share the video, just type it in the comments, because Facebook won't tell me who shared it. It shows me the number of shares, just not who did it. And I want to make sure you get 2 entries for that. So if you like, comment emoji on any picture or whatnot, whatever step I was doing, that gets you entered into the drawing for these cards that I give away. And I'm giving away every single week, whatever we do on the live. So these are the 3 cards again. We are still working the masculine theme, so start thinking about all the men in your lives, ladies. Sometimes even men need to give cards to say you're wonderful, because they are. Men are the backbones of our families. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're the heartache, but it's all worth it in the end. They do still need to be appreciated and shown the love and respect that we need to give them. So so give them a handmade card along with whatever gift that you choose to give them. And I hope you join me next Sunday at 3 p.m. I already have the next stamp set ready to go, and I think you're going to like it. And this one has coordinating dies, and it kind of falls along the lines of mountain theme. So if you're a mountain person, camping, woodsy, you're gonna like next week too. So I hope to see you next week, and once I'm done with the video, like I said, I'll post all of the materials that were used. I'll also make sure my blog spot is on there, and then on Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday, was just doing, I don't have a calendar in front of me. Just make sure you go to my blog. I'll be up in the middle of the night in order to activate that particular page that has the BOGO, because that's a huge event. And because I'm doing it online this year, I'm going to make it all month long so that people from everywhere can participate, and not show up here and be going through things. It'll just be me handling everything. But for all of the details on that, do go to my blog page. If you're on my communication list, you would have already gotten an email about the event. So that's another thing. If you want to be in the know before maybe I announce it on a Sunday afternoon, make sure you go and sign up to be on my email communication list, so that you know when these events are going to be happening, and then you get one of the first opportunities, because I only have so much retired stuff. I do have a lot of retired stuff, but I only have so much. So it is first come, first serve, and I'm just excited with the new catalog coming out. So it's an opportunity for me to be able to get rid of a lot of retired things, especially for those of you crafters that don't care if it's retired. You want it, and you're like, I love that stamp set. I'm gonna do so much with it and keep it forever, whatever it might be. I probably have it. I have loads, and I will show you pictures once I'm done with the video. But I do want to thank you for joining me this afternoon. It looks like it's going to rain, which is the perfect opportunity to be inside playing with paper, or in my case, trying to wrap this thing up so that June 3rd I can activate that page, and you can just go see all of the retired items that will be up for grabs, but also be able to take advantage of getting some new products at the same time. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. All right, bye guys.